The day we buried my daughter, the sky was painfully clear. No rain, no thunder, just a quiet blue stretch above us as if the world hadn't noticed that mine had shattered. Emily was only 32, a sudden aneurysm. One moment she was laughing over Sunday lunch, the next she was gone. Her husband, Daniel, stood beside me at the funeral, holding my trembling hand while my 8-year-old grandson, Oliver, clung to his father's coat. "I'll take care of him," Daniel whispered, voice breaking, "I promise." I believed him. In the months that followed, grief hollowed me out. My house felt too large, too silent. Emily's old room stayed exactly as she'd left it, a museum of her teenage years. I couldn't bring myself to change it. Daniel called often at first. He sounded exhausted, lost. "It's hard doing this alone," he'd say. "Oliver misses her every day." So did I. One evening, about 6 months after the funeral, Daniel came over. He looked thinner, shadows under his eyes. "I don't know how to ask this," he began, staring at his hands. "Emily handled most of the finances, the medical bills, they drained our savings. I'm trying, but childcare, the mortgage, it's overwhelming." I had done well in life. My husband and I built a small logistics company from scratch. After he passed, I sold it and invested wisely. I wasn't extravagant, but I was comfortable, very comfortable. "Daniel," I said, "your family. Oliver is my blood. If you need help, I'll help." That night I decided I would send him $40,000 every year, not as a loan, as support, for Oliver's future, for stability. Daniel cried when I told him. "You're a blessing," he said. For the next 7 years, like clockwork, I transferred the money every January. At first, Daniel sent updates, photos of Oliver's school awards, videos of soccer games, birthday invitations. I attended whenever I could. Oliver grew taller each year, his brown hair dark like his mother. But slowly things shifted. Daniel's calls became less frequent. When I asked about Oliver's schooling, his answers were vague. "Oh, you know, kids stuff." I noticed Daniel's car changed from a modest sedan to a sleek black SUV. Then there were photos on social media, vacations in tropical places, expensive watches peeking from under his sleeve, dinners at high-end restaurants. I told myself I was being judgmental. Maybe he'd gotten a promotion, maybe life had simply improved. After all, I trusted him. Oliver, however, grew quieter. When he turned 15, he started visiting me alone during school holidays. Daniel always had work commitments. The boy who once chattered endlessly now seemed watchful, as if measuring every word. One summer afternoon, while we sat in the garden drinking lemonade, Oliver finally spoke. "Grandma," he said carefully, "can I ask you something?" "Anything." "Do you give Dad money?" The question caught me off guard. Why would you ask that? He stared at the glass in his hands. "Because he always talks about your generosity. And whenever bills come, he says, 'Don't worry, Grandma will handle it.'" A strange chill crept up my spine. "Well," I admitted gently, "I help out for you." Oliver looked up sharply. "For me?" "Of course, for your school, your future." He hesitated, then lowered his voice. "Grandma, my school fees are on a payment plan." I overheard Dad arguing on the phone about overdue notices. The world seemed to tilt. "That doesn't make sense," I whispered. "I send him $40,000 every year." Oliver's eyes widened. "40,000. I nodded slowly. He leaned closer. "Grandma, I don't think that money is going to me." The words hung between us, heavy and suffocating. That night I couldn't sleep. Memories replayed in my mind: Daniel's new car, the vacations, the designer suits, his evasive answers, the distance he'd created between Oliver and me. I had trusted him with my daughter's legacy. The next morning, I did something I should have done years ago. I hired a private financial investigator. It felt shameful, almost traitorous, but grief can blind you, and love can make you foolish. Within 3 weeks, the report landed in my hands. Daniel had not received a significant promotion. His income had remained modest. The $40,000 transfers were clearly visible, and so were the expenditures. Luxury travel, high-end electronics, gambling transactions, membership at an exclusive country club. There were even regular payments to a woman listed as consulting services. My chest tightened as I read further. Very little of the money had gone toward Oliver's education or savings. There was no college fund, no trust, nothing. For 7 years, I had funded Daniel's lifestyle. And all this time, Oliver had been living under budget constraints, listening to his father complain about money that was already sitting in his account. The betrayal burned hotter than grief. But beneath the anger was something worse: guilt. I had assumed the best. I had never verified. I had never protected my grandson directly. I invited Daniel over the following weekend. He arrived confident, flashing that familiar, grateful smile. "Good to see you," he said, leaning in for a hug. I stepped back. "Sit down, Daniel." He frowned slightly but complied. "I know about the money," I said calmly. "The vacations, the gambling, the consulting services." His face drained of color. "I trusted you," I continued. "That money was for Oliver, for stability, for his future." He stammered, I meant to replace it. I just needed time. Things got complicated." 7 years, I interrupted. 7 years is not complicated, it's deliberate. Silence filled the room. "You will not receive another dollar from me," I said firmly. "From now on, any support for Oliver will go directly into a trust in his name, managed independently. You will have no access." Daniel's jaw tightened. "You're overreacting." "No," I replied softly, "I'm finally reacting." He left without another word. That evening Oliver called. "I told him you knew," he said quietly. "Thank you," I whispered, "you were brave." There was a pause. "I didn't want you to think badly of him because of me." My heart broke all over again. "Sweetheart, none of this is your fault." Over the next months, I set up a formal trust for Oliver's education and future. I began attending his school meetings personally. I paid the overdue tuition directly. Daniel grew distant, resentful perhaps, but Oliver blossomed. Freed from financial uncertainty, he focused on his studies. He talked about becoming an engineer just like his mother once dreamed of being. Sometimes I sit in my garden and think about Emily. I supported her husband because I loved her, because I believed in promises made beside a coffin under a clear blue sky. But it was her son who opened my eyes. Grief taught me generosity. My grandson taught me wisdom. And this time I made sure my love reached the right hands.